expected to do that much. But of course the economy slowed down. But of course the economy's difficulties in terms of demand slowing down, stock market also, you know, being tepid, it wouldn't have been right for me to say, oh no, but I've said it in budget, I have to sell it come what may. That wouldn't have been the best approach. It's all right, I did give an estimate. I was pulled up saying, oh, you overestimated, you couldn't achieve. The situation was such that the economy at that time was not, you know, in a position to receive all these privatization, although I did say it. But I am now also saying, because ultimately when you're using public money, you're selling public assets, can I be only, no, I've given a commitment, so I have to sell irrespective of what I get out of it? I am answerable to the Parliament. I have to make sure that it is sold at a price at which I can stand up with honesty and say, no, I've done the best on the job. So 2 lakhs couldn't be achieved. Now I am sounding conservative. I have to also make sure that these companies are able to catch the eye of the investor or the buyer so that they are sold at a reasonable price.
It was heartening for the markets to hear, you know, your reiteration that it's going to be minimum government, maximum governance, and that the governments will get out of a few sectors. Do you remain completely committed to that?
100%, and that is why I said, instead of picking up on one after the other set of companies saying, oh, this is ready for sale, that is ready for sale, state it as a policy that you will have only certain core sectors. Even there you will have only bare minimum. Earlier somebody did ask me, but didn't you say during Atmanirbhar 4 at least? I'm still saying not 4, it can even be lesser. Bare minimum is what I'm talking about. And that is where when people question me, but public sector banks, yes, they are doing brilliantly for the very many causes for which government wants banks to function. They are also sitting over several CASA, the current account and savings account money, for which there is no demand in the areas in which the CASAs are coming in big numbers.
Yes.
There should be some synergy. And that is why we went about amalgamating banks. We want very many more SBIs. But that doesn't mean that the sentiment that, oh my God, there is a public sector bank and therefore I can't even touch it, can be the guiding principle. We want more public sector banks which are functionally strong, professionally managed, which can meet the demands of a growing aspirational India. We want such banks. And I don't think 1 or 2 just banks like that will be able to meet this growing demand for credit and growing demand for a varied reasons from the economy. But in the process, if I'm going to be sitting around with such public sector banks, which are just not in a mood or even in a position to stand up, is it right to pour taxpayers' money to such banks?
Absolutely.
Where there may be buyers who can buy it and run it efficiently. We want more efficient banks in the economy. I can't be sitting with a laggard and thinking that I'm doing a favor to the economy. I want these banks to go out and be able to stand up there with private money coming in and be able to service our economy. That's why.
It's the one announcement that's really sent all banking stocks on fire, including the public sector banks. Now, is this the way forward for public sector banks, or is it that there will be some public sector banks and some will be privatized? You know, so you said 2 banks. You would like to know which banks they are.
We've
and
not just named it. If I could name it even in the budget speech,
and how
I would have done.
soon would that happen?
I hope to do it all this year. The formulations have, we've started engaging with the Reserve Bank in a big way.
Now, the disinvestment target of 1.75 lakh crore, does that include everything, or is, you know, or LIC and others would be outside the purview of this?
Well, as LIC is an IPO, we'll have to see how it, we've only I've read out the names of those disinvestment for which cabinet approval has been taken.
And is that the figure of 1.75 lakh crore corresponding to?
Yes, in a way, yes.
So everything else would be outside the purview of that?
I wouldn't so put it in black and white.
Okay.
Broadly, yes.
But broadly, the ones announced today is where you hope to get maximum.
Largely.
You know, the much-awaited development financial institution you announced today. Again, could you give us some specifics other than, you know, providing a capital of 20,000 crore? Any specifics? You know, have you thought of the name? Or when would it kick off?
Not yet.
And
Not yet. In the sense, there are institutions already in the Government of India realm which we would want to use for this purpose, but not just for what they are now. We want it to be professionally run. We are giving them some money, but with which we are expecting to have 5 lakh crores within the next few years to be able to leverage their own funds and be able to get that kind of money. But I also underline the fact that I don't think, again I repeat this, for a growing aspirational India, one development finance institution can meet up with all the growing demands. And therefore, in the act that we will have to bring in, the amendments that I have to make to existing laws also, will have to have a provision for even private DFIs to come in.
That's interesting.
With that, I want private DFI, government funded DFI, all to compete. There's so much demand for development financing. I don't think it will be just one government